Mat Armstrong has rescued cars from rivers, from fire-damaged auction lots, from salvage yards where professionals had already walked away. He is a mechanic's son from Leicester who describes himself as someone who wings it, and he has rebuilt cars that manufacturers declared impossible to fix outside their own factories. These are his craziest rescues ever. The man who sees something different. When most people look at a crashed supercar, they perform a quick calculation. Damage visible, parts unavailable, repair cost exceeds value. Walk away. Mat Armstrong performs the same calculation and arrives at a different answer. He grew up in Leicester, in his father Tony's garage, absorbing practical mechanical knowledge long before he had any plan to use it professionally. His first career was BMX. He rode competitively, built an online following, and looked to be heading somewhere in action sports until an injury closed that door. He came back to cars. He started filming his work. And in late 2018, when his girlfriend crashed her Audi TT and the insurance company wrote it off, he bought the wreck back for £600 and turned the rebuild into a YouTube series. That series became his identity. Not because fixing an Audi TT is technically remarkable, but because the process, the problem solving, the setbacks, the satisfaction of a broken thing becoming whole again, resonated with millions of people who had never thought about car restoration before. The £600 decision did not just save a car, it established the template that every rescue on this list followed. Find something others have given up on and refuse to agree with their assessment. What followed the Audi TT escalated in a way that nobody, including Armstrong himself, fully anticipated. The Lamborghini that hadn't run in 7 years. The 2002 Lamborghini Murcielago arrived in Armstrong's workshop from Everyman Racing with a detail that established the stakes immediately. The engine was delivered separately from the body, not as a dramatic gesture, simply because that was the condition in which the car existed. 2 deliveries, 1 car, neither of them in a state to be driven anywhere. 7 years of inactivity had done what 7 years of inactivity always does. Seals had deteriorated in ways that only revealed themselves when you attempted to address them. Fuel systems had gummed beyond what visual inspection could assess. Electrical connections had corroded through extended disuse in ways that no diagnostic tool could fully map until the car was partially alive again. The Murcielago presented, at every stage of its resurrection, a new problem that the previous stage had concealed. Armstrong documented every step: the disassembly, the assessment, the replacement of components that no longer functioned, the gradual accumulation of working systems around an engine that had been silent since before his YouTube channel existed. Then the V12 started. A car that had not moved under its own power since 2015, brought back to life in a Leicester workshop by a man who had taught himself to work on cars in his father's garage. That moment, an Italian V12 firing after 7 years of silence, is the sound that defines what the channel is built on. But as dramatic as the Murcielago rescue was, it was not the craziest thing Armstrong has attempted. The one that changes the conversation involves a river. The Porsche GT3 RS that drowned. The previous owner of this 992 generation Porsche 911 GT3 RS lost control and drove it into a river. He made a decision that most people in that situation make. Sell it as found, take what the salvage auction offers, and move on. The car went to auction in the condition in which it had been recovered. Submerged, water-saturated with damage, extending through every system that a modern high-performance Porsche depends on. Armstrong paid $130,000 for it. A new GT3 RS would have cost at least double that figure. The gap between those two numbers represents the risk, the possibility that the water damage, once fully assessed, would make recovery impossible regardless of how much time and money was invested. Then, the previous owner contacted him to explain what had actually happened, to clarify details about the car's condition that the auction listing had not included. The information made the situation more complicated than it had appeared at the point of purchase. Armstrong had already bought it. He kept going. The water damage extended through the electrical systems, the mechanical components, and the interior in ways that compounded at every stage of disassembly. Addressing one system revealed the next problem. The bill grew. The timeline extended. And throughout, Armstrong continued filming. Not because everything was going smoothly, but because the honesty of documenting a difficult rescue is precisely what the channel has always been built on. The finished Porsche GT3 RS returned to track specification, a car that had been at the bottom of a river, driven again on a circuit. The rescue is not the most expensive Armstrong has undertaken, nor the most complex in engineering terms, but it is the one that most clearly demonstrates what the word rescue actually means in this context. Not a cosmetic restoration, but a recovery from a condition that should have been permanent. The Rolls-Royce most workshops refused to touch. When a heavily damaged Mansory Rolls-Royce Wraith came up at auction, the reason most professional workshops declined to bid was not the purchase price. It was the parts situation. The Mansory conversion, bespoke bodywork panels, a custom interior, modifications throughout the car that departed from the Rolls-Royce factory specification, created a sourcing problem that standard restorers were not equipped to handle. Mansory parts are not stocked by Rolls-Royce dealers. The combination of two manufacturers' work in one car meant that fixing either element properly required understanding both. Armstrong paid around £184,000 for it. The rebuild spanned several months. At each stage, parts that should have been straightforward to source required either negotiation with Mansory directly, fabrication of alternatives, or creative solutions that standard workshop practice does not include in its manual. The ending is the part that confirms the rescue was complete. Armstrong drove the finished car to Mansory's factory in Germany himself, not for a final inspection that revealed problems, for the final finishing touches that confirmed the car was ready for them. A vehicle that auction professionals had written off, delivered under its own power to the people who had originally built it. The journey from the auction lot to the Mansory factory is, in its own way, the most satisfying story of any rescue on this list. The car went back to its makers, in better condition than most of them expected. The Aston Martin DB12. 24 hours, mysterious damage. Not every rescue is a long-form project. The Aston Martin DB12 challenge established that Armstrong could operate under a completely different kind of pressure. Not months of patient work, but a single day with a newly damaged car and no margin for delay. The DB12 arrived with damage described as mysterious, not immediately apparent from visual inspection, requiring diagnostic investigation alongside physical repair. Aston Martin DB12S cost well over £150,000 new. Rebuilding one in 24 hours requires a team that can adapt faster than the problems arrive, and problems in a car this complex arrive quickly. What the 24-hour format revealed was something that slower builds can obscure: the decision-making speed that Armstrong and his team have developed across years of rescues. Each problem that revealed itself during the DB12 rebuild was assessed and addressed without the luxury of stepping back and reconsidering. The car had to be ready. The team made it ready. The Lamborghini Revuelto, the rescue that took on a manufacturer. The Lamborghini Revuelto is the most extreme rescue in Mat Armstrong's career, and the most honest one, because it includes the part where things nearly did not work out. The Revuelto is Lamborghini's first hybrid hypercar, combining a V12 engine with 3 electric motors. When the car was involved in a serious crash, those systems did not simply sustain damage. They triggered safety protocols that locked the engine out entirely. Even after replacing the battery, the car refused to start. The electronic architecture of a hybrid hypercar is orders of magnitude more complex than anything Armstrong had previously encountered. The crash had activated safety measures that were designed specifically to prevent unauthorized restart. He purchased the car for approximately €260,000, against a new price of over €700,000. He then spent months attempting a rebuild that Lamborghini themselves, when officially contacted, declared unfeasible outside their own facilities. Armstrong continued outside their facilities. The chassis was separated to inspect internal damage. New components were sourced through unconventional channels. The team worked through a sequence of problems that each resolved to reveal the next. And at the point where viewers had begun to wonder whether this was the first rescue that would not come back, the engine started on the first attempt after reassembly. Total investment, approximately £468,000. A car that Lamborghini said could not be fixed outside a factory. He sold it, closed the chapter, and moved to the Bugatti. The rescue that is still happening. The Bugatti Chiron Pur Sport is the build that Mat Armstrong's entire career has been building toward. One of 60 ever made. Declared a total loss after a serious accident. Official parts unavailable through normal channels. Components sourced, fabricated, and adapted from alternative vehicles. Chassis sections separated to assess internal damage. The engine runs. The project continues. The final chapter has not been written yet. That incompleteness is, in its own way, the most honest thing about Mat Armstrong's approach to rescues. He does not know how they end when he starts them. He starts them anyway. Subscribe to Drive Directive and tell us in the comments, which of Mat Armstrong's rescues do you think took the most courage to begin?